Hey guys, we are Sean and Christy. This is Long Long Honeymoon, coming to you today with a fantastic, timely topic: how to stay warm inside a cold RV. In this video, we're going to briefly discuss RV heating systems. We're going to tell you the massive major problem every RV suffers from when it comes to cold weather camping. And then we're going to tell you our secrets, give you specific tips that we've discovered over the years that help us stay warm inside a cold RV. First, we're going to talk about the heating systems that you have built in on board your RV. Probably you have two. You have an electric heat pump, which is combined with your air conditioning unit, and you have a propane heat furnace. Both of these onboard systems have one big problem: fuel. They need fuel, either in terms of electricity or in terms of propane. Now, if you're connected to the grid, then yes, you can plug your RV up to the grid and you can use, for example, your electric heat pump. But if outside temperatures drop below around 40 degrees, the heat pump is not going to get the job done. With our travel trailer, for example, when temperatures approach freezing outside, we need to be running our propane heat furnace to keep our pipes warm so they won't freeze overnight and be damaged by the cold. Of course, there are thousands of different RV designs. Your RV may be designed a little bit differently than ours, but we have a belly pan beneath our travel trailer and the pipes are somewhat protected from the cold. And when we run our propane heat furnace, those pipes are kept warm because warm air is pushed beneath the trailer into that belly pan. But what's important to note here is that if you are camping off the grid and do not have a steady source of electricity, both of these onboard RV heating systems will use surprising amounts of electricity. Yes, the propane heat furnace will also use electricity. Electricity is used to power the fans in the heat furnace that push the air throughout your RV. So if you're camping off grid, you're going to have lots of fuel to stay in cold weather and keep the interior of your RV warm. Here at the front of our Airstream travel trailer, we have not one, but two 30-pound propane tanks. And many of you out there are going to ask, how long can you camp in cold weather with two 30-pound propane tanks? Well, if we're running our propane heat furnace 24/7, we could deplete both of these tanks in 2 or 3 days easily. You will chew through a lot of propano or propane if you're going often to this well. And so yes, it can get expensive. You're not only using propane, you're also using electricity. And if you're relying on your house batteries, I don't care what kind of solar setup you've got, you will rip through those house batteries pretty quick too if you're not very careful. What's probably going to happen is the interior of your RV is eventually going to get cold because of the major problem that all RVs suffer from. And that problem is,
well, they aren't exactly built to be weatherproof when it comes to keeping heat inside, right? They leak like a sieve, right? They're not well sealed. The windows are not double panes. And in the cold weather, the problem is you're going to feel a draft pretty much off of every window you have. The one RV that I can think of that is weather sealed, that is made for cold weather camping, is the Arctic Fox. There might be a couple others out there that are like special editions, but that's the one that we know of that is made for cold weather camping, and the rest of us, well, we're just going to do the best we can.
Ready to go outside?
No, it's cold. It's too cold. Personally, I sleep where there is a window right above my head, and I can actually feel the cold air coming in that window on top of my head. Sean sleeps next to the window that's on the back of the camper. He feels that cold air coming in from that window. It's cold out there.
Yeah, it is cold out there.
and no matter how hard you're trying to warm the interior of your rig, if you have a huge mass of cold air sitting beneath it, you're battling nature. So you can get side skirts that will wrap around your RV, which help insulate the underside of the RV. Now, if you are like most RV owners and going out for casual cold weather camping, then you're probably not going to want to make that investment in both money and in time and energy to set up the skirting and break it down. But for those of you who are sitting in one place for an extended period of time, of course, the skirting makes a lot of sense.
So you've just got to remember that you're never going to have a perfectly warm interior that maintains the warmth, right? You're always having to do something to keep it going. One other thing you need to remember is if you're running your propane heat furnace, you're going to have condensation inside your RV if you do not ventilate a window. So we usually open this window here at our kitchen sink. And when I say open it, I don't mean like wide open. I mean we crack it and I put these little locks up, and you see that? An opening about this wide, you know, maybe 2 inches. So it doesn't have to be some massive open window, but you do need to have some ventilation because otherwise you're just going to be covered in condensation. Every window is going to be dripping, and you don't want that either. There are a few steps you can take to insulate your windows if you're going to be spending a lot of time in like sub-freezing temperatures. I don't think it's worth it to do it if you're just going to be camping a week here or there in cold temperatures. But there's a material called Reflectix, and it's literally like a reflective material on one side. It almost has the texture of like a bubble wrap, and you basically line your windows with it, and it helps keep the heat inside your RV. If you're going to be spending a lot of time in cold weather, sure. If you're just, like I said, spending a week or two, I wouldn't bother. I think it's a lot of effort, you know, for a short period of time. The other thing you can get are inserts to go in your skylights or in the recessions where your Fantastic fans are. And they're basically just like little, almost look like a pillow with a reflective material on one side. And it basically keeps the warmth from escaping out of your skylight or your Fantastic fan, where those have little, you know, seams around the edges or what have you. Again, if you're going to be spending a lot of time in really cold weather, I think it's worth it. If you're just spending a week or two, I don't know if I would bother packing all of that. There are other things you can do to stay comfortable inside your RV without having to bring all that stuff with you.
I want to briefly mention space heaters because over the years we have tried many different space heaters. And yes, you can get space heaters that use either electricity or even propane. And the problem is, there's no free lunch. A good space heater is going to consume a lot of electricity typically, or a lot of propane. I mean, for example, here's a space heater that we have used for the past decade. I don't think they even make this model anymore, but it consumes about 1,500 watts of electricity, which is about like running an air conditioning unit. Here's a smaller space heater that we got from Amazon, and it only consumes about 500 watts of electricity. Unfortunately, it doesn't put out a whole lot of heat. We have tried the more energy efficient space heaters, and there's no free lunch. They don't put out a lot of heat. And something else I've noticed about space heaters, as soon as you turn the space heater off, your RV interior is going to start to get cold quickly because your heat source is gone. So at the end of the day, these consume a lot of electricity and they don't really solve the problem, especially when it comes to sleeping overnight, because space heaters are a fire hazard, especially electric space heaters. So we really don't advise that you run an electric space heater overnight unattended while you're sleeping. It's just too dangerous. All right, so now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, the specific techniques we use to stay warm inside a cold RV. You see, it's very difficult to maintain warmth inside an RV. So what you have to focus on first and foremost is maintaining your body warmth. First of all, you need to dress in layers, use base layers, and these aren't your granddaddy's base layers. Base layers these days are pretty cheap, and they're sleek and comfortable, lightweight, and they really help you retain body warmth. Wear top and bottom base layers, and on your feet, this is crucial, wear heat holders. What are heat holders, you may ask? These are the best socks that we have found for camping in cold weather environments. They're not inexpensive. They cost about $25 a pair. But the first time you put these on your feet, you will know where that $25 went. These feel like fleece blankets for your feet.
They're really thick, and on the inside you can see they have a special super soft, supposedly Japanese designed weave and some sort of UK patented loop. They have a heat rating, they call it the TOG rating, which stands for thermal overall grade, of 2.34, whereas your ordinary cotton sock would be a 0.33. So they're like 6 or 7 times as warm as a normal sock.
And the interior of these socks is soft and actually provides space for air to flow around your feet, and yet they retain warmth inside the sock. And we're wearing these at all times in the camper, almost just like house slippers. But we will also wear these in bed while sleeping. Because I don't know about you, but I'm miserable if my feet are cold. But your feet are not going to be cold if you have heat holders on, and your body warmth is going to be much improved if you have a base layer on your body. And in times of absolute desperation, you could put on a beanie or toboggan in bed, as my wife has been known to do. All right, we have arrived in the bedroom.
A glimpse into our bedroom. One of the things that we do all the time is sleep with a fleece blanket. But typically, in most conditions, we're sleeping with the fleece blanket on top of our sheet. But when the weather dips down into the frigid temperatures and we're desperate to be warm, the trick is to take your fleece blanket off the top of your sheet. And yes, we have 2 blankets. We have 2 twin size blankets, and that way we each have our own fleece blanket that we can wrap around us and tuck under so that we stay nice and warm. But basically you're going to take your fleece blanket from being on top of your sheet and you're going to just put it under your sheet so that your warmth is kind of trapped by this fleece blanket under the sheet and next to your body. So you have a little warm fleece cocoon under your sheet. And then a lot of times we'll put a down comforter over the top of the sheet. But the important thing is to keep the fleece blanket next to your skin. That is what's going to help keep you warmer than just a sheet with blankets on top of it. And I know a lot of people use flannel blankets or flannel sheets and that sort of thing. If you like those, great. I do think they keep you warmer. For me, they sort of make me a little too warm in the middle of the night, like my body temperature, core body temperature gets a little too much, and then I'm hot. So I prefer just a regular sheet, but the fleece blanket on top. The other clutch thing that we do, this is a good old-fashioned heating pad. Yep, a heating pad. Not a heated blanket, but a heating pad. A heating pad is going to get much hotter than a heated blanket, right? The good thing about a heating pad is it doesn't take much electricity to power it. So we keep one of these handy dandy small lithium power banks. So you see how the size of this, it's not very big. We turn it on, here we go. I'm gonna plug this in so you can see the power draw that this electric blanket pulls on high heat. So I'm gonna turn it to high. Yep. It pulls a whopping 44 watts of electricity. And the key thing here is that it's only going to pull 45 watts while it's heating up. Once it gets hot, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to drop way down and then it'll boost up when it needs to keep it warm. But this thing right here is like having a little oven for your feet in the bed. So I just leave this next to the bed. I tuck this heating pad down by our feet. Sometimes I leave it kind of in the middle of the bed before we get in the bed to sort of warm up the mattress, because that's one thing, especially if you have a foam mattress or a foam mattress topper, those toppers can get really, really cold. So then you're sort of fighting the chill of the mattress on top of the chill of the air. So it's nice to put this in the bed before you even get in to heat up the mattress a little bit, and then I move it down by our feet. and we keep it there while we sleep. Now, our heating pad has a 2-hour automatic shut-off, so after 2 hours, it's gonna automatically turn itself off, which usually for us, that's plenty of time for us to get toasty and warm and fall asleep, and we don't even worry about it. Every now and then we'll be camping somewhere where it's so cold that we wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning, we're freezing, we just reach over and turn the heating pad back on, and then we're toasty warm again. So it's been a game changer for us as far as keeping our feet and our body temperature up while we're in bed sleeping in freezing temperatures. They do make heated mattress pads that you can use, but again, that heats your entire mattress under you, and I think for me, it makes me a little too warm at like 4 in the morning. So I think sort of concentrating the heat to our feet helps us stay warm, but we don't get too hot where we start sweating. So it's kind of that tricky balance of being comfortable, but not being cold and not being hot. So you're always walking that fine line, I think, when you're trying to stay the perfect temperature while you sleep. One other option that I'm sure a lot of you use at home or on the road is a heated throw blanket. Now, I use this a lot of times when I'm just sitting on the couch reading a book and I just want to stay a little warmer than a regular blanket would offer. It's a great option. However, it does take more power than a heating pad, and I'm going to turn this one on and show you the difference. So right now this is off, so if I put it on high, it's pulling roughly 100 watts. It sort of fluctuates a little bit, so it's a little more than double what the heating pad pulls. This is not going to get nearly as hot as the heating pad, so this is more to just sort of keep toasty warm. You're not going to get hot off of it. We actually loaned this to some friends that were car camping when we were in one of the national parks a couple of years ago. You're in a car, you have no heat source while you're sleeping in it overnight. You need a little something. So we loaned this to our friends.
Kept us toasty warm all night. And it was 28 degrees last night.
To me, like what we did is like the wheelhouse for this. It's like it allows us to, camp in below freezing weather that we would never do without. Right. It was a game changer. It was like, oh yeah, this makes a much nicer sleeping arrangement. So,
and again, it's something that you can sort of turn on and off as you need to. This does stay on constantly. I'm sure they make them that will do the automatic shut off after a certain period of time, but this one stays on until you turn it off. So just do your research before you get one, depending on if you want one that will stay on continuously or if you want one that'll cut itself off. But it's a nice little option. It's not too big and bulky. You can use it without turning the heat on, just as a little throw blanket, or you can crank up the heat and get warmer. So just another easy option to pack. Of course, if you want to invest in a lithium power station to power it, that's going to cost you more money, but of course those are multi-purpose and can be used for a lot of other things. But overall, for 44 watts of electricity, while this is running on high, it's the best bang for your buck to keep yourself nice and warm on a cold night in your RV.
So that's guys, a look at specific techniques to keep you warm and comfortable inside a cold RV space. What do you think? And what do you know? I know that many in our audience have done even more cold weather camping than we have done. And I'm sure that many of you have discovered specific techniques that help you stay comfortable during the winter months. If so, please chime in, post a comment beneath this video. We'll be scanning your comments for ideas for future videos and future tips that we can share with our audience.
If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family. That's a big help to us. And if you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button down below. That makes a world of difference. And if you don't want to miss the next Long Long Honeymoon video, please make sure you click the little bell icon and you'll get a notification when a new video goes live.
Ding.
Yep, ding. All right, guys, until next time, what do we say? Lo-lo-ho.
Shut up! Shut up! Suddenly a flock of ravens is flying over our heads. Shut up, please.
There must be something dead somewhere because there's a bunch of them over there.
All right, thank you.